Okay,
Okay.
so
All
hi,
right.
Miss
Thank you so much.
Aileen.
Thank you so
Nice
much,
to
Miss
see you
Clarissa.
again.
It's always it's always a pleasure to be here. I'd like to thank everyone who signed up once again to join us in our third session of Rise Up, Shape Up. And as Miss Clarissa explained, I was invited to lead a practice for this particular morning that could help viewers learn how to slow down. And I can imagine that for some of you who are listening to this, that might seem a little strange because, quite frankly, a number of us are exhausted, a number of us are drained from the last 8 months. So lessons on slowing down don't seem to be necessary. But I'm going to invite you to consider that it's actually far more relevant than you might think. Um, a number of you, or all of you, may have had experiences of finally taking that break that you were waiting for, or even managing to go on vacation to a certain extent, only to discover in the middle of it that you can't relax, that your mind can't slow down, that you keep thinking about the loose ends you didn't get to tie up before you left, or all the work that's waiting for you by the time you actually return. And so by the time your vacation or your small break has ended, you might find that you actually don't feel rested because the entire time you've been wrestling between, trying to be in the moment, trying to rest, and at the same time having these recurring thoughts about, oh, I've got this to do, I've got that to do, I didn't quite get that handled. And so it's like driving a car where you're pressing on the accelerator at the same time that you're pulling on the handbrake. Those competing commitments are even more exhausting. So a number of us return from these breaks and we're more tired. So we need vacations from our vacations. And so that's what I mean when I say we actually really do need to learn how to slow down. This is not something that we can take for granted. It is a skill that needs to be cultivated. And this is really just because of the world that we live in. A number of us tend to think that when we can't relax, it's some kind of personal failing. It's some kind of eccentricity that's unique to us. We say things like, oh, ganyan talaga ako. Ever since I was young, I could never sit still. I would get fidgety. I would always need to find something to do. And I'm going to invite you to consider that no, it's not personal. It's just years of conditioning because we live in a global society that puts such a high premium on productivity. We are implicitly and explicitly rewarded for being busy, for getting things done, for accomplishment, for achievement. I mean, so many of us, when we go on vacation, there's this implicit expectation that when we get back, we should have seen all these tourist sites, we should have eaten at all these restaurants, we should have tried all these unique experiences. And so, even when we're supposed to be on break, there is that expectation that we should be able to account for the time that we spent. And so, if this is our hard wiring, if this is what we're perpetually expected to be and to do, it's little wonder that when we have a few moments to actually just rest, we can't. It goes against all the conditioning. And so we need to train our minds to move away from this ingrained habit patterns towards busyness and towards productivity. And it is a bit of an uphill battle because we're going against an entire culture. So the technique that we're going to be exploring this morning is going to look at cultivating 2 to 3 different skills, okay? First, it's like Miss Gray said earlier, we need to be able to catch our thoughts. So one of the things that we're going to try to do during this practice is to notice these thoughts towards perpetual busyness. Thoughts like, I don't deserve to rest, or thoughts like, I don't have the time for this, thoughts like, I need to answer that text message now, or the world's going to end. Okay, so really just catching the habitual thought patterns. And then the other skill that we need to cultivate is the letting go. Okay, just because we have these beliefs doesn't mean they're true. So continuously surrendering, okay, I get it. It's just a pattern of the mind. And I'm going to take the next few moments just to rest, okay? And then actually resting. So a couple of subtle yet distinct skills that we're going to be exploring. Okay, so we're going to do that now. This is going to require a bit of visualization. And if you're not the visual person, don't worry about it. Anytime you learn a new skill, it's a little awkward when we're trying it out. Okay, so just do the best that you can. And so to do this exercise, you can continue sitting down, but if you have your bed nearby or if you have a couch nearby, I would invite you to lie down altogether. Okay. So whether you're sitting down or you're lying down, just taking a few moments to gently let the eyes close and then quietly sensing, are there any obvious places of tension or resistance that you can just soften and release? So maybe noticing the shoulders, maybe noticing your jaw. Okay, you might be clenching your teeth. Noticing the forehead if you unconsciously furrowed it. And just letting the face be smooth. And letting the eyeballs be soft behind your eyelids. And with every exhale, surrendering more and more of your weight to whatever surface is supporting you. So whether that's the chair or the bed or the couch. Every time you breathe out, just giving in to that delicious sensation of sinking. And maybe even quietly sighing in relief, if that helps. And now just bring to mind a memory of a time when you felt free. There wasn't anything that you had to do. There was nowhere that you needed to go. There wasn't anyone you had to look after. Maybe it's a memory from childhood. It was the last day of school and that delicious sense of freedom, 2 months of summer, nothing to do, no one running after you. Or maybe a more recent memory of lying down on a field or a garden and just giving yourself permission to look up at the sky, just watching the clouds pass. Or because this is the Philippines, maybe a memory of being at the beach and lying on your back on the ocean, just feeling yourself being carried by the waves. That sensation of being supported by the earth and the ocean underneath you. Maybe feeling the breeze on your skin, the warmth of the sun on your face. And whatever memory you're bringing to mind, just immersing yourself in that felt sense of ease and space and freedom. And just notice how it feels in the body. Notice how it feels in your chest. Notice how it feels in your throat. And notice how it feels in your face. When you can just give yourself a few moments to rest in spacious awareness. And in the few moments that you've been doing this, a thought might have come up at some point. Now, when is this going to end? When is this program going to finish so that I can get on with the rest of my day? When I can start figuring out what to prepare for lunch? And when you notice that thought, just notice it as a pattern of your mind. Just notice how familiar it is. How many times does this thought come up for you in a single day? That sense of urgency to just get to the next thing. Living with the sense of leaning forward into life perpetually. And imagine turning towards this inner voice of yours that's articulating this thought. And gently bowing down to it and just saying, thank you for the reminder. And I'm going to address it as soon as I've had a few moments of well-deserved rest. And just reassuring it. I've spent my whole life getting things handled. It's going to be fine. A few minutes isn't going to cause the entire world to stop spinning on its axis. And just surrender once again into that sensation of resting. Breathing in and breathing out. Nothing that you need to do. Nowhere that you need to go. And just taking it all in. Rebuilding your connections to that felt sense of ease. And once upon a time, this was the natural state for all of us when we were children. No sense of rush. Just the possibility of moment after moment unfolding. And then maybe another thought has come up. A thought like, what am I doing resting in the middle of the day? I haven't done enough to deserve this. And again, noticing how familiar that is. Not making it wrong, not judging it. We need our inner manager. It's just that we don't need it 24/7. So just kindly turn towards it with grace and just say, just a few more moments. And once again, relaxing into that sense of ease. And let's just take the next 8 to 10 rounds of the breath. Breathing in and breathing out. Just breathing. And for many of us, breathing is easy. It's the just part that's a little complicated. So just breathe. And just doing this for another 3 to 5 cycles. And for some of you who are doing this for the first time, it might be the 3 to 5 longest breaths of your life. And that's fine. In a few moments, we're going to end. And I'd just like to close with this quote from the Roman poet Ovid. And he said, "Take rest. A field that has rested gives a bounteous crop." And then just taking your time, if you happen to have closed your eyes, you may gently open your eyes now. So thank you once again for being willing to explore this practice with me. And if it felt completely strange and completely awkward and completely contrived, don't worry. Chances are that's how it was for most people. So in the days, the weeks, the months ahead, as you find yourself unable to switch off your busy mind, it's really challenging to just kind of chill. This is a practice that you can revisit and that you can explore. And there's no right or wrong way to go about it. Just go straight for whatever, it can even be an imaginary scenario, but just go straight into whatever evokes that visceral sense of relaxation and ease and just not having to run anywhere. So, whatever works for you, and just give yourselves a few moments to rest fully in it. And you might have to keep redirecting your attention every so often, and that's normal. Okay, so thank you very much. And I wish you a good day ahead.